Well, thank you, Kent. Before we get to the presentations today, what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of information about the activities of the CFAR Developmental Corps in the past year. So we have a new co-director. That's Sally Permar, so I'll introduce her to you in a minute. She's not here today. I want to give you a little bit of information on our progress for the Developmental Corps for the past several years. This was information that we compiled during our renewal, and then mention the Chalk Talk that the CFAR Developmental Corps has coming up in the next few weeks. So what does the Developmental Corps do? Kent already mentioned some of these things, but we provide pilot funding through the Small Grants Program and other pilot funding mechanisms, the strategic partnerships that we've done with the Department of Medicine. We support faculty recruitment, and we will hear from one of the CFAR recruits in the session this morning. And then we provide mentoring services and resources. So Sally Permar, many of you know Sally. She is the Developmental Corps co-director after years of helpful service from Chuck Hicks, who has left. So Sally's the new Developmental Corps. Sally has a history with the CFAR. She was a co-recruit in 2011. Sally has received small grants, and she's also been a mentor to laboratory researchers. Sally is a rising star in the Duke CFAR and nationally. She has won the 2012 NIH New Innovator Award, and in 2013 she won the Presidential Award for Early Career Scientist and Engineer. So Sally, again, is not here today, but she will be playing a critical role going forward in the CFAR Developmental Corps. Progress, 2010 to 2014. So everyone that has submitted a small grant realizes that we use the NIH style R21 application and review process. And one thing I'd like to say today is that we need reviewers. So if you have experience reviewing NIH grants or other types of grants, peer-reviewed mechanisms, please be willing to help support the Developmental Corps in our review of small grants. So after our Chalk Talk that's coming up in a couple weeks, the Developmental Corps will send out a survey to ask if you're willing to serve as a reviewer for the Small Grants Program, and then to list your area of specific expertise so we can try to best match you with grants that are in your area of expertise. So some of the outcomes of the Small Grants Program from 2010 to 2014. So there were 83 Developmental Corps small grant applications in the past 4 years. And the way we run the small grant program is each of these applications will receive an NIH-style summary statement. So whether you're funded or not, we try to give constructive feedback that will help you, whether it's to revise and resubmit the small grant to the CFAR or whether it's to revise it and submit it to other funding agencies. 30 small grant applications were funded. There were 10 strategic partnership applications received, so these were strategic partnerships between the CFAR and the Department of Medicine. 4 of those were funded. Of the small grants funded, 16 were to senior fellows, 12 were to junior faculty, and 3 were to faculty new to HIV/AIDS research. So we have been able to utilize the small grants program to support many different categories of applicants and to hopefully bring new faculty into the HIV/AIDS research arena, as well as support the junior faculties and senior fellows. 25 publications resulted from the pilot project support, and as Kent mentioned, we need everyone to make sure that you acknowledge the CFAR, whether it's the Developmental Corps or the entire program, when these publications are submitted so that we can get credit for them. A number of successful grant applications that resulted from small grant awards. In the past 4 years, even with the difficulty in obtaining NIH funding, we had 2 R01 style awards that were received by Duke CFAR small grant recipients, and since 2005 to 2010, there were 17 awards, the previous CFAR. So in external funding dollars subsequently awarded to recipients of the developmental core pilot projects was $4.5 million since 2010. So this is a return on investment of 2.98. So for every dollar that the CFAR pays out, we get almost 3 back, and that's just in the past 4 years. Since 2005, a total of $20.6 million has been recovered and a 7.38 return on investment. So despite the difficulty in national funding, the CFAR Developmental Core program is able to observe a return on investment for the dollars that are paid out to our grant recipients. Faculty recruitment. So faculty recruitment is another area that the Developmental Core is involved with, and we'll hear Kevin speak in this session, but Kevin Saunders is a medical instructor in Duke Human Vaccine Institute. He is one of the CFAR recruits from this past year. He earned his PhD at Duke in 2010, then completed a postdoctoral fellowship at the NIH before returning to Duke. So welcome back, Kevin, and we'll hear from him later. Mentoring services. So the Developmental Core is also interested in faculty development and providing of mentoring plans. So one requirement that we have now for all small grant applicants is that all small grant applicants of the rank of fellow through assistant professor are required to have a mentoring plan. Now that requirement may be satisfied by your home department, institute, or center. So if you have a mentoring plan provided by your home academic affiliation, that will suffice to meet this requirement. But if you do not have one, or if you want one specific to your CFAR activities, we will work with you to help you develop a mentoring plan. We also provide grant review training. So when we are having the CFAR small grant study section to review the small grant applications, for trainees that have not previously served on the study section and would like to learn and observe what that process is about, at least once a year we have grant review training where CFAR members can come and observe our small grant study section and observe the interactions that take place during a study section review. I think that is helpful. It gives you a better understanding of the type of discussions and the issues that may impact grant scores when you're involved in a study section. We also provide grant pre-submission review. So even if you're not submitting a grant application to a CFAR-funded mechanism, the Developmental Core will provide you with a grant pre-review. For example, if you're submitting an R21 or an R01 to NIH, as long as you give us sufficient time, usually about a month before the due date, we will do our best to find faculty members with experience in your specific area and give you a pre-review of your grant prior to submission, with the idea that hopefully we can give you some comments that improve the quality of your application. The next CFAR Chalk Talk is for the Developmental Core. The title of our Chalk Talk is "What Have We Done for You Lately?" What we really hope to get out of this Chalk Talk is to give you some ideas of the services that we provide, but also to get feedback from the CFAR members, previous small grant recipients, anyone, give us feedback of what we can do to make the CFAR Developmental Core be more helpful for your needs. That will be Tuesday, October 2nd, 2014, MSRB 1, room 001, from 5 to 6:30. So please plan to come to that if you have time to give us feedback on the services provided by the CFAR Developmental Core. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Sally. I'll be here all day, so you can talk to me today if needed, or you can send Sally or me an email, and we will try to address your concerns.